students, and welcome to your favorite educational YouTube channel, Educator Prerna, or as you popularly know me as English Wali Ma'am. So आज के हमारे T20 सेशन द EPL सीरीज उसमें हम कौन सा चैप्टर पढ़ने वाले हैं? चैप्टर फ्रॉम आवर सप्लीमेंट्री रीडर एंड द नेम ऑफ द चैप्टर इज द नेकलेस. Now, this story, The Necklace, is about a lady named Matilda who wanted to lead a very materialistic life. उसको ऐसे लगता था कि लाइफ में जब तक materialistic pleasures नहीं है, life can never be happy, and she always wanted to be a part of the elite section of the society. Now she was married to a clerk who of course had limited wage, because of which he was not able to give the kind of life that Matilda always desired for. So इस story में ये बताया है that how Matilda's desire to fit into that elite group leads to more miseries in her life. Okay, so let's start reading the chapter. She was one of those pretty young ladies born as if through an error of destiny into a family of clerks. She had no dowry, no hopes, no means of becoming known, loved, and married by a man either rich or distinguished. And she allowed herself to marry a pretty clerk in the office of the Board of Education. She was simple, but she was unhappy. सो स्टोरी के बिगनिंग में हमें मटिल्डा जो है उसके इन अ वे उसके फिजिकल फीचर्स भी डिस्क्राइब किए गए हैं दैट शी वाज very beautiful, very pretty, but she was not born into a very well-to-do family, and even when she got married to a family which was of a clerk. She suffered incessantly, feeling herself born for all delicacies and luxuries. She suffered from poverty of her apartment, the shabby walls, and the worn chairs. All these things tortured and angered her. So Matilda was not happy with the kind of family she was born into, and even the one she was married into. When she seated herself for dinner opposite her husband, who uncovered the tureen with a delighted air, saying, "Oh, the good pot pie! I know nothing better than that." She would think of elegant dinners, of shining silver. She thought of exquisite food served in marvelous dishes. She had neither frocks nor jewels, nothing, and she loved only those things. So for every little thing, even a simple dinner, even having a simple dinner with her husband, all that she could think was the luxurious dinner that were done by the elite section of the society, the rich people of the society. So this lady, she was never ever happy. Matilda जो थी वो हमेशा dissatisfied थी with her लाइफ. तो डिनर के टाइम पे भी वो ये सोचती थी कि जो रिच लोग हैं वो कितने अच्छे क्रॉकरी में कितने अच्छे डिशेस में वो लोग खाना खाते हैं, और उनके कितने रॉयल लंच होते हैं, द वैरायटी ऑफ डिशेस दैट दे हैव. बट हमारे पास तो वही सेम ओल्ड क्रॉकरी है एंड एक ही मील ऑलमोस्ट डेली बनता है. बट मटिल्डा का जो हस्बैंड था, ही वुड स्टिल अप्रिशिएट द डिनर दैट वाज बीइंग सर्व्ड. She had a rich friend, a schoolmate at the convent, who she did not like to visit. She suffered so much when she returned. She wept for whole days from despair and disappointment. Despair, feeling hopeless. So Matilda की एक friend थी who was very rich, but Matilda जब भी उससे मिलती थी, Matilda would always feel unhappy. So she would crib. मटिल्डा जो थी वो क्रिब करती थी कि मैं ऐसी लाइफ मेरे पास क्यों नहीं है. One evening her husband returned elated, bearing in his hand a large envelope. So elated means जब आप बहुत खुश फील कर रहे होते हो. Here he said, "Here is something for you." She quickly drew out a printed card on which were inscribed these words: "The Minister of Public Instruction and Madam George asked the owner of Lozil Company Monday evening, January 18th, at the minister's residence." So Matilda and her husband were invited for a royal dinner at the minister's house. Okay. इंस्टेड ऑफ बीइंग डिलाइटेड, अब इतनी अच्छी जगह से इनविटेशन आया है। अब आप देखो मटिल्डा जो है, आई टोल्ड यू कि वो हमेशा क्रिब करती रहती थी कि मेरे पास ये नहीं है, मेरे पास वो नहीं है। सो इंस्टेड ऑफ फीलिंग हैप्पी अबाउट इट, व्हाट डिड शी डू? शी थ्रू अवे द इनविटेशन spitefully upon the table, murmuring, "What do you suppose? What do you suppose I want with that? But my dearie, I thought it would make you happy. You never go out, and this is an occasion and a fine one. Everybody wishes one, and it is very select. Not many are given to employees. You will see the whole official world there." So अब Matilda का जो husband है, he's very surprised. He's like, I thought you would be happy कि you like you always wanted to go to a royal dinner and यहाँ पर हमें एक invitation आया है, but तुम इसको लेकर खुश नहीं हो रही हो. What are you doing? You are being unhappy and you are being complacent. ये words ध्यान रखना, character sketch में हमें use होते हैं ये words. He had not thought of that. He stammered, "Why the dress?" Sorry, she looked at him with an irritated eye and declared impatiently, "What do you suppose I have to wear to such a thing as that?" So Matilda says कि इतने prestigious जगह से, इतनी elite जगह से हमें invitation आया है, but I have nothing to wear. So then, her husband said that the dress you wear when we go to the theater, it seems very pretty to me. He was silent and stupefied in dismay at the sight of his wife weeping. He stammered, "What is the matter? What is the matter?" By a violent effort, she had controlled her vexation and responded in a calm voice. तो अपना जो गुस्सा और frustration थी, उसको मटिल्डा ने थोड़ा control करा, and she said in a calm voice, she said that nothing, only I have no dress and consequently I cannot go to this affair. यहाँ पर affair is referring to the dinner which was at the minister's house. Give your card to some colleague whose wife is better fitted than I. He was grieved but answered. So जब मटिल्डा ने कहा कि नहीं, I don't have a perfect dress for this occasion, so you better give this invitation card to someone else जिसकी wife के पास अच्छे कपड़े हों to go to that invitation. So Matilda's husband, he felt really bad about it. He said, how much would be suitable, how much would a suitable costume, something that would serve for other occasions, something very simple. So अब मटिल्डा के हस्बैंड ने पूछा, अच्छा मुझे ये बताओ जो नई ड्रेस है वो कितने की, how much would it cost? She reflected for some seconds, thinking of a sum that she could ask for without bringing, with an immediate refusal and a frightened exclamation from the economical क्लर्क. सो अब मटिल्डा को लगा कि अगर मैंने बताया कि मैं कितने की ड्रेस आई वांट, द कॉस्ट ऑफ द ड्रेस, her husband would get angry. Finally, she said in a hesitating tone, "I cannot tell exactly, but it seems to me that 400 francs ought to cover it." He turned a little pale, for he had saved just this sum to buy a gun that he might be able to join some hunting parties the next summer with some friends who went to shoot larks on Sunday. Nevertheless, he answered, "Very well, I will give you 400 francs, but try to have a pretty dress." So, Matilda का जो husband था, he had that much of money saved, but for something that he wanted. Okay, so just अपने एक for a hobby जिसके लिए Matilda's husband had saved the money for that gun. He said, "Okay, you take away all that money, but make sure कि तुम अपने पसंद की ड्रेस लेकर आओ." The day of the ball approached, and Loisel seemed sad, disturbed, anxious. So now again, Matilda was still upset. She said that her dress was nearly ready, and so husband said, "What is the matter with you?" She responded, "I am vexed not to have a jewel." So again एक और complaint. अब अच्छी सी dress मिल गई, तो अब मटिल्डा की क्या complaint थी? That I don't have a good piece of jewelry to wear. So he said that you can wear some natural flowers, and in this occasion they look chic. She was not convinced, and she said that there is nothing more humiliating than to have a shabby air in the midst of rich women. Then her husband cried out, "How stupid we were! Go and find out your friend Frostier and ask her to lend some jewels." So अब मटिल्डा के husband ने बोला कि जो तुम्हारी एक बहुत friend जो बहुत rich है उससे जाकर why don't you go and buy a piece of jewel. So the next day, she took herself to friend's house and related her story of distress. So Frosty और जो उसकी friend थी, she went inside and she got a piece of jewel. She saw at first some bracelets, then collar of pearls, and then Venetian cross of gold and jewels of admirable workmanship. She tried the jewels before the glass. शीशे के सामने खड़े होके मटिल्डा ने सारे जो ज्वेलरी वो लेके आई थी उसकी फ्रेंड उनको ट्राई करा. And then she took out a particular piece of jewel. Why, yes, look for yourself. And then suddenly she discovered in a black satin box a superb necklace of diamonds. Her hands trembled as she took it out. She placed it about her throat against her dress and it was ecstatic. Then she asked in a hesitating voice full of anxiety, could you lend me this? All right. So Matilda को एक necklace दिखा which was of diamonds. So but Matilda was little hesitant. So she asked her friend, क्या तुम मुझे ये वाला necklace lend कर सकती हो? So she said, yeah, you go ahead. So अब इसके बाद स्टोरी में क्या होता है that the day of the ball arrived and Matilda and her husband they went for the dinner. They had a great time and Matilda, you know, she was on cloud 9, really happy. But यहाँ पर अब आता है एक twist in the story. वो क्या है twist in the story? All right. Then so अब ये लोग पार्टी से बाहर निकलते हैं. They walked along towards the river, hopeless and shivering. Finally, they found one of those old carriages and the one seized in Paris after nightfall. It took them as far as their door and they went wearily up to their apartment. And it was all over for her. And on this part, he remembered that he would have to be at the office by 10 o'clock. She removed the wraps from her shoulder before the glass for a final view of the necklace. But she suddenly saw कि वो जो necklace था that was not in her neck. Okay, so अब क्या होता है? Now Loziel already half undressed. He asked what is the matter. She turned towards him excitedly and she said that I no longer have the necklace जो मैंने अपनी friend Frostier से लिया था. And now her husband was, you know, oh my God, don't tell me कि तुमने एक diamond necklace जो है वो खो दिया. So now Matilda and her husband ये वापस जाते हैं पूरे रास्ते and you know they try to find the necklace कहीं पर गिरा हो and if they can find that out, but all of that in vain. They are unable to find the necklace. Okay, so page number 43 जो है उसमें ये description दी गई है. ठीक है, and then he said so he went to the police to and to cab offices and put an advertisement in newspaper offering a reward. She waited. अच्छा, अवार्ड और रिवॉर्ड इन दोनों वर्ड्स में क्या डिफरेंस है? इफ यू वांट टू नो दैट यू कैन फॉलो अस ऑन इंस्टा. ओके, मेरे इंस्टा चैनल को भी आप फॉलो कर सकते हो जिसमें हम हर फ्राइडे आई मीट यू एवरी फ्राइडे एंड वी लर्न सम वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग वर्ड्स. हम 2 वर्ड्स जो हैं उनको अंडरस्टैंड करते हैं एवरी फ्राइडे. सो डू फॉलो अस ऑन इंस्टा एज वेल बिकॉज उससे आपकी वोकैबुलरी जो है दैट इज गोइंग टू रियली बिल्ड अप. ओके, सो देन he said that why don't you write to your friend that you have broken a clasp of the necklace and you will have it repaired. So clasp क्या होता है? Even if you have seen a chain kind of a thing, so it has a hook kind of thing. So what happens is कि वो clasp जो होता है it's like a rectangular you know thing on the necklace and it kinds of tucks into another rectangular piece of the necklace. So वो necklace जो होता है वो tightly tie हो जाता है. Okay, so he said कि तुम बोलो कि तुमने उसका जो clasp है जो एक handle है वो टूट गया है, you want to get it repaired and then I will return it जब मैं उसको repair करा दूंगी. So then at the end of so she wrote this letter to her friend. At the end of a week they lost all hope and Loziel, ordered by 5 years, declared we must replace this jewel. Older by 5 years, sorry. In a shop of Palace Royal, they found a chaplet of diamonds which seemed to them exactly the one that they had lost, and it was for 40,000 francs. Okay, so imagine इनके लिए 400 francs गैदर करना इतना मुश्किल था, बट यहाँ पर अब उन्हें एक डायमंड नेकलेस खरीदना था विच वॉज फॉर 40,000 francs, and they could get it for 36,000. So after some bargain they could get it for 36,000. So Lozier, he had 18,000 francs which had his father had left him. Then he borrowed the rest. अब इसी के साथ क्या हुआ, they managed to get 36,000 francs and उन्होंने वो नेकलेस खरीद लिया. अब the money that they had lent, they had to actually repay that money also. So how did they manage it? Lozier now knew the horrible life of necessity. She did her part, however, completely heroically. It was necessary to pay this frightful debt. She would pay it. She learned the odious work of kitchen. She washed the dishes. She washed the soiled linen, their clothes, and put them for dry. The husband worked evenings putting the books of some merchants in order, and nights he often did copying at 5 sous a page, and this lasted for 10 years. So now Matilda had to do a lot of work, and her husband also had to also do at least 2 to 3 different jobs so that they could repay the money that they had borrowed. Okay, and what happened now? She had become a strong hard woman, the crude woman of the poor household. Her hair badly dressed up, her skirts awry, her hands red. She spoke in a loud tone and washed the floors with large pails of water. But sometimes when her husband was in the office, she would seat herself before the window and think of the evening party of the former times, of that ball where she was so beautiful and so flattered. So abhi bhi Matilda jo thi, she was still thinking of that materialistic pleasures. One Sunday, she was taking a walk in the Champs-Elysees to rid herself from the cares of the week. She suddenly perceived a woman walking with a child. It was her friend Frostier. So Matilda ने देखा there's a lady who's coming in front of, there's a lady walking by, और उस लेडी के पास एक बच्चा है. ये लेडी कौन थी? मटिल्डा की फ्रेंड फ्रॉस्टियर, जिससे मटिल्डा ने नेकलेस लिया था. So and then she wondered that should I speak to her, and now she said that I had paid, she would tell her all that. So she approached her. Good morning, Jean. Her friend did not recognize her and was astonished to be familiarly addressed by this common personage. She stammered, but madame, I do not know. You must be mistaken. So then Matilda told her friend Jean Frostier that I am Matilda. Her friend uttered a cry of astonishment. Oh my poor Matilda, how have you changed? So Matilda now looked very like a very poor woman. So उसकी जो friend थी वो shocked थी, वो कहती तुमने अपने साथ किया क्या है? So then what happened? Matilda ने उसको पूरी story बताई कि मैंने तुमसे diamond necklace लिया था, वो खो गया था, and I had to borrow a lot of money from people here and there. I had to repay them, जिसकी वजह से I had to do some odd jobs. I returned another to you exactly like it, and it has taken us 10 years to pay for it. So Frostier stopped short. So Frostier ने उसको रोका, and she said, you say that you bought a diamond necklace to replace mine? Yes, you did not perceive it then. They were just alike. And Frostier, she smiled with proud and simple joy. And Matilda, she was proud of herself कि देखो मैंने तुम्हें diamond necklace वापस कर दिया. So Frostier was touched and took both her hands, and she replied, oh my poor Matilda, mine were false. They were not worth over 500 francs. So Frostier जो है, जीन फ्रॉस्टियर, वो मटिल्डा को बताती है कि वो रियल डायमंड नेकलेस नहीं था. इट वॉज जस्ट फॉर 500 francs. So see how sometimes the desire for extreme materialistic life leads to more misery. Remember, इसी स्टेटमेंट से मैंने ये चैप्टर स्टार्ट किया था आपको पढ़ाना. Okay, so अब हम आते हैं with the characters of this story. So we know there are mainly two characters. So first is Matilda and second is her husband. So Matilda, so पहले husband जो है, we know that he is very caring and he is very contented in his life. Okay, why? Because he is happy with whatever he has. Talking about Matilda primarily. So Matilda is very dissatisfied with her life. She cribs a lot. What do you mean by cribbing? You will see some people who always keep on complaining. Ye aisa hai, ye waisa. They're never happy with anything around. So they are very complacent people. They are the one who always keep on cribbing. And don't you think Matilda was also very greedy? Right? Because वो उसकी greed ही थी, because of which her life became all the more miserable. And what are the values that we learn from this chapter? To be not greedy, to have gratitude for the things that we have in life, to be not always complacent, to help our friends in need. But इसी के साथ there is another important value that we learn: the importance of clear-cut communication, the importance of honest communication. अगर मटिल्डा पहले ही अपनी फ्रेंड को बता देती that I have lost the diamond necklace and I don't have the money to repay it, तो उसकी फ्रेंड पहले ही बता देती. Her friend would have communicated it then and there that it was a false diamond necklace and you need not worry, वो इतने का था and you can return it whenever you want. मटिल्डा की लाइफ इतनी प्रॉब्लमैटिक नहीं होती. इसीलिए बोलते हैं जब गलती करते हो उसी टाइम आकर बता दो, इससे पहले कि वो सिचुएशन बैड से वर्स हो जाए. ओके, सो दैट्स अबाउट इट फ्रॉम दिस चैप्टर. नेक्स्ट सेशन में हम इसके क्वेश्चंस जो हैं उनको अटेम्प्ट करेंगे एंड वी विल आल्सो अंडरलाइन इंपॉर्टेंट एक्सट्रैक्ट्स फ्रॉम द स्टोरी. टिल देन स्टे ब्लेस्ड. डू लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब टू एजुकेटर प्रेरणा एंड most importantly, also follow us on Insta, and I'm going to also mention the link to our Insta channel. Okay, thank you so much. Stay blessed.